So financial inclusion, there's of course a textbook definition of what it means. And I think the best way to define something in as simple way as possible is to take the words and just break them out. So there's a financial element to it, and there's an inclusion element to it. So there's trying to include people into a financial system. So I think that's the easiest way to think of it. And then you would have to ask yourself, what is the financial system? And then you talk about all the banks that are there, what your money does, where it goes, who it goes to, how you pay, all those different elements that form part of the financial system. That would be the financial part of the word financial inclusion. And then inclusion would now say, how do you make it simple? How do you make it effective? How do you make it efficient for people to then make use of this elements that come into financial inclusion? So if I had to explain it in as simple way as possible, would be just a breakdown of those words. You're trying to get people included into this financial system in a variety of ways. How do you make it as efficient, as simple, as easy as possible to enable them to make use of it? So I'd define it in that way.
Another way of thinking about it could be also looking at what are the barriers to financial inclusion. So doing it backwards. So for instance, there is an absence of physical access, and this can mean that the physical branches of banks that are like these parts of the financial systems are very far from some areas where specific communities live. And also the fact that financial products can be tailored only on some users and not on other users. So there can be very high taxes or credit regulation. So it's just very hard for communities to access these products that exist in the formal financial system. And also a lack of knowledge. So if you're not familiar with the products and with the language of the financial system, then you cannot engage with it at like an equal level. Just to tie what Angwi said, financial inclusion is not intended as an end in itself, but always as a means to an end. And like even in an international perspective, we can see that in the way it's mentioned even in the Sustainable Development Goals of the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. And it's not mentioned in one of the goals, but it's kind of present across them. So it's always intended as a powerful tool in the strategy to attain different goals. And like, for instance, just like tying on what Angwi was saying, in the goal number 1, that is no poverty by 2030, it's just listed among the basic services that people deserve access to in order to escape poverty, like appropriate financial service. And also accessing capital for people can mean greater long-term investments, for instance, in education and healthcare, improved capacity of handling shocks, occasional work, urgency, emergencies, and we can see this with the current pandemic actually even better. And then access to better opportunities in general, so like even being able to take a risk to then access a better job or like access a better housing opportunity in the future. And also for entrepreneurs and micro-entrepreneurs, the chance to start, formalize or grow a business. So actually it can make a big difference in someone's life, having that extra step, extra service to increase the quality of their life.